Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest layout for Hey Little Magpie, featuring the Vicki Boutin collection Discover and Create. So I really love this needlework paper, and that's the other one with the flowers is called Fresh Air, and I'm going to use those as the basis for this layout. So I've taken the Fresh Air paper and I've cut out the majority of the flowers and the leaves, and now I'm going to bring in a scalpel. I'm going to cut out the embroidery circle from the middle of this needlework paper. I've got a glass mat underneath there to help the blade go round. I'm taking it slowly so that I can actually not make too big a mistake as I go round. It's not perfectly circular, and I'm making sure that it is cut as I go round, and I'm lifting it to be sure. And I find it quite tough to cut. It's very nice thick paper, so that's why I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on through the blade to cut round the circle. I'm not going to cut the mechanism at the top out. I'm going to leave that on the background. I'm just going to cut the circle in itself. On the left there you can see the photograph that I want to use with this. This was taken in a dahlia border at a National Trust house in Cambridgeshire a couple of years ago. But I thought that the blue of my jacket particularly went really well with the flowers from the Fresh Air paper, so I thought it would be perfect. So I'm just checking that I've got this circle completely cut out. Just one little bit there. There it is, completely cut out of the centre. So what I want to do now is, using a piece of children's craft foam, I'm going to put this below the embroidery circle to lift it up. So if that makes sense, I'm just going to raise up this circle and put it back into the paper that it came from. So it'll be just that's, can you see the depth there? So I'm just going to stick a piece of copy paper to the back of the 12 by 12. I'm just going to line it up there at the top, stick it in, and then I can add the circle to it to base the embroidery hoop, I'm going to call it, in the centre. So I'm just going to stick the craft foam to the white paper. I'm just going to make sure that it's secure. I don't want it to show around the outside, but I need it to support it, and I'll add a bit more tape to that white paper. There you go, that's all secure, and I'm going to line that up there. I want the lines obviously to be going horizontal and vertical. So I've decided I'm actually going to stitch round the border. I'm just going to come in now with my pokey tool. I'm going to just wing it. I'm going to do it by eye. I'm going to just put some holes all the way round the edge, just to add another dimension. I think I like to sew on my layouts. That is something that I do quite a bit. And I brought in this dark grey, and I'm just going to do a back stitch all the way around. Some of it will get covered up, but I find it easier, rather than guess which bits will be covered up later, is to sew all of it. Otherwise I feel like it takes too much brain power to do that. I'm using full thickness, so I'm just going to do a couple on camera, and then I'm going to magically bring it back in when it's done. What you won't realise is I've got an audiobook playing as I do the videos, so that actually I'm listening away while I do the sewing, which is perfect while my hands are busy. So this dark grey, there is a line actually on the embroidery hoop bit, and that's the line I've followed. So there it is, all finished, all sewn. I put it back in position. I'm not going to stick it down yet because I have another thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all the embellishments to the hoop first, and then we'll stick it down nearer the end. So I'm just coming back in with the cut photos from the Fresh Air paper, and I'm trying to make essentially 2 clusters, but it probably ends up looking a bit more like 3. So I'm going to have a big one on the top right, and then I'm going to have some either side of the photograph. Now I did cut out some of the flowers from around the edge of the paper, and because they're perfect for tucking in behind the photograph, so I didn't just go for the whole flowers. I also made sure that I got some of the yellowy oranges in, because I thought not only do they coordinate with the background, they go with the flowers in the picture. I was also conscious to have the pink flower in, the big one on the top right, because that also matches the pink in the lower part of the background paper. So I was actually thinking about the colours as I went on, and I brought in this tag. I think it's from the Papery Pack, and I'm going to put it inside that frame, and that's where I'm going to add my journaling. So it's another little bit of pink as well coming back in there. So I'm just having a look. I think that's generally come together quite well. I'm going to cut a few leaves off that. I don't feel they get needed there, and I can use them a bit further down. The very fine leaves on some of the flowers, I've actually left a bit of a white border when I've cut them out. I think it works fine, so I will leave them as that. So I'm just having a look, feeling like maybe they need another bit of orange on the top right, because I've got a couple of bits of orange on the left. So I really think this Discover and Create range is really versatile. There's so many different colours in it, but they all seem to work well together. I don't know whether you saw one of my previous videos, but I even just used the neutrals. So I would really recommend that you check it out. All this range can be found at Hey Little Magpie. There's so many different parts to it. You can see the chipboard words there. I quite like that word enjoy. It's got very much the same blue tone as my jacket again. And that word nature, I'm thinking whether I could actually incorporate that under the title, so I'm going to trim that down there. So as I say, have a look at Hey Little Magpie. They've got this range plus thousands of others. Fabulous shop and really great prompt delivery. So do check out Hey Little Magpie. Also, if you do like these videos or you're new to my videos, give us a like, subscribe to my channel, and you'll get to see plenty more. Also, there's a lot of archived as well, so there's lots of videos there for you to enjoy. So I'm just going to look at these die cut words here. I've decided I'm going to bring one of those in. I looked at the orange, but it was just a bit too orange. I'm going to use one of the blue ones. And it says beauty in the everyday, and I think that fits perfectly. So I've actually stuck down a lot of this off camera, and then I had an idea, and this is why I didn't stick the embroidery hoop to the craft foam from the beginning. I've just sketched out what I'd call a cross stitch heart, and I don't mean I'm going to make it with crosses. I'm actually going to just make it with outline stitches. Because you've got this check grid pattern within the embroidery frame, I've decided I'm going to add some heart outlines. So I've drawn it as if I was going to draw it around the edges of the squares. It will make much more sense when you see me actually sew them, I think. But it's a little, just an outline that I would have done when I did embroidery and cross stitch years ago, but I just feel like it would add something to the background, another dimension again. I'm going to space them out so they're not in any pattern. I don't want them to be regular in any shape or form, and I just want to make sure there's enough space to space them out. A couple might go underneath the edges of a flower maybe, and I've got my rubber there, so I can I'm only sketching them, and once I've actually poked the holes, I will bring the rubber back in. I'm just checking that where the title fits, whether I could add another one there above the title. Very easy to do. I mean, if you wanted to, you could just draw yourself a grid and figure out what shapes would suit you best. I just thought the heart was really quite a nice, easy shape for me to sew. So I've got some very pale pink thread there. That's what I'm going to use. And I split it so I'm only using 3 strands. I don't want them to be too poofy on the background. So I'm just going to thread the needle and put a knot in the bottom. And I'm just bringing in my foam mat and my pokey tool. And I'm going to just poke a hole in the corners of where the grid lines meet that fits with my heart shape. And once I did you see I came in with the rubber and I rubbed out the pencil. Just because I'm using a very pale cotton, I don't want the pencil to show. So if you rub it out in advance, then you're not going to get yourself into any bother trying to figure out how to do that once you've sewn them in the end. I mean, if you thought the heart shape was too complicated, you could definitely do some like little cross stars if you wanted. I even wondered whether to do some swirls coming out from the flower clusters. That's whether that was the original idea, but in the end I decided a repeating pattern would be something I would prefer. So this is where I'm glad I didn't stick it down at the very beginning. I probably could have done the sewing before I added bits, but hey, you know, your ideas change as you go along. Just a bit of kitchen roll there. I'm just using that to help brush off all the rubber marks and rubber bits so that I can carry on sewing. So I'm just using backstitch again. It doesn't video great because obviously, first of all, I'm left-handed, and secondly I'm working front to back, so I'm moving around the circle quite a bit. But it doesn't take that many stitches to make each heart. I'm just having a look. It takes 14 stitches to make each heart, so it's not complicated at all. And as the actual paper's called Needlework, the fact that it's got a little bit of needlework on it, I think that just kind of fits really for me. So bear with me with moving this paper backwards and forwards. So everything else is stuck down apart from the title and a couple of flowers that I realised wasn't stuck. So there's the first heart. So I did the rest off camera. You can see that dimension. The gap at the bottom there is for the title, so I'm going to add that with a little bit of foam. And I feel like it's very nearly done. So I really like the way this has come together, apart from a bit of fussy cutting, which I did in front of the TV, and a little bit of sewing that I've done on and off during the making of this layout. It's come together quite simply, I believe. So I hope this has provided some inspiration for using this Discover and Create collection. I feel it's so versatile. You could literally use any photographs you wanted and still find a way to scrap with this collection to suit yourself. So I really would recommend you check it out in the shop and get making. So I'm just adding some foam to the back of this title because I want to lift it up, and then I'm finally going to stick the circle down to the foam to actually finish the layout. So I'm making sure it's going to be sturdy there. It's going to take me a bit to line it up. I just want to make sure that the lines are perfectly straight. There it is with all its dimension. I'm going to add the journaling off camera. Thank you so much for watching. Here's the finished image and the peaks, and I hope to see you here again real soon. Bye for now.